This is the Motorola Razr, released in 2004. And this is the Motorola Razr, released in 2019. One's an evolution of the other, so let's dive in. The Motorola Razr, 2004, was a vanguard in design, minimizing flip phone, clamshell technology into something you could take with you, a real fashion icon. The new one is a different kind of icon, clamshell, foldable. Now this is one unbroken screen, elongated to a 6.2-inch display. Now it's not the most advanced foldable out there, and in fact it's long instead of wide, so it's not going to be appealable and right the same way. But the nostalgia factor is huge here. The question is, how big is it? Let's start with the obvious. Yes, it looks a lot like the old Razr, just bigger for modern hands and modern sensibilities. It's going to act and operate a lot like your typical cell phone, except you can close it. There's a lot more functionality we'll get into later. But it really inherits a design language of satisfying clips that flips open. This hinge has been rated to open 50 to 100 times a day for well past the phone's lifespan. It doesn't feel flimsy. It's pretty smooth. It doesn't feel like it's going to break down in the way that some other foldables have. In fact, all the design engineering language is within this hinge, so don't expect anything particularly advanced in terms of internals, in terms of camera, in terms of speed. It really is the novelty of having something in your pocket. It's about half the size of your normal smartphone. So how useful is this big unbroken display? Well, it's not quite wide enough like the Samsung Galaxy Fold or Mate X. You don't get that tablet-like screen. The real estate's more like a standard smartphone. So you scroll through and talk on it like normal. The novelty is really when you fold it closed. You've got this tiny display on the front. Text messages, music, emails, quick replies, stuff like that. In fact, it's a lot like a smartwatch in which you get a little bit of functionality, but a preview. It really changes how you use the phone. Otherwise, the Razr is a lot like most big smartphones these days. It's got a camera in the front and a selfie camera inside, but the novelty is when you flip it closed. Because then, using the Motorola spinning feature to summon the camera, you've got a selfie camera with a screen on it. And then if you're video chatting, for example, you can flip it open to seamlessly transition to this. The Razr packs some solid mid-range internals, the Snapdragon 710, 6 gigabytes of RAM, 128 gigabytes of storage, which seems a little lower powered compared to other smartphones, but we haven't really noticed a difference. And in fact, they went with a lower powered but still solid mid-range chip because this thing is tiny. It is 14 millimeters flat and of course about 7 when you unfold it, which means the more advanced chips would have generated more heat, used more battery, etc., etc. Speaking of battery, you're only going to get 2,500 milliamps here. That's not a lot, but because you're only checking that small front screen most of the time, the guys at Motorola anticipate you're not going to use more than a day's worth of battery. We'll see how that checks out. And it's coming out pretty soon. Pre-orders start in December for the US release in January, starting at $1,500. They haven't released pricing or availability, but we know it's coming to Asia, Australia, and elsewhere. And they're really depending on demand here, which means if you want it, ask for it. But for the Razr's 15th anniversary, this is pretty cute and fun. The past wrapped in the present. Whether you want it or not is kind of up to you. The price range is, 3 times what a normal Motorola top-ender would cost you, or twice as much as a leading flagship smartphone. So you really gotta love the snap, crackle, flip, etc. But if it's for you, check out Verizon in the US or buy it online on Motorola. Elsewhere, stay tuned for details. This is TechRadar.